Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Energy Express. I'm your host, Zach Harold. Today I'm coming to you from our YouTube studio where we record a lot of our cooking videos. We're going to begin today's episode with a read-aloud, one of my very favorites, written by a West Virginia author named Cynthia Ryland. It's called The Relatives Came, and Tino Kayafas is going to read it for us.
Hi everyone, my name is Tino Kayafas, and I'm a student here at West Virginia University. I'm actually just becoming a senior right now. I'm in the middle of some summer classes, just like you guys. I'm studying business and music. I'm a drummer, and I don't do a ton of reading, but I'm very excited to be sharing with you guys today. I'm also from Wheeling, West Virginia, so any of you guys out there from Wheeling, my wishes are sent your way, and here we go. So this is The Relatives Came, story by Cynthia Ryland and illustrated by Stephen Gamble. It was the summer of the year when the relatives came. They came up from Virginia. They left when their grapes were nearly purple enough to pick, but not quite. They had an old station wagon that smelled like a real car, and in it they put an ice chest full of soda pop and some boxes of crackers and some bologna sandwiches, and they came from Virginia. They left at 4 in the morning when it was still dark, before the birds were even awake. They drove all day long and into the night, and while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains, and they thought about their most purple grapes back home. They thought about Virginia, but they thought about us too, waiting for them. So they drank up all their pop and ate up all their crackers and traveled up all those miles until finally they pulled into our yard. Then it was hugging time. Talk about hugging. Those relatives just passed us all about their car, pulling us against their wrinkled Virginia clothes, crying sometimes. They hugged for hours. Then it was into the house, and so much laughing and shining faces and hugging in the doorways. You'd have to go through at least 4 different hugs to get from the kitchen to the front room. Those relatives. And finally, after a big supper, 2 or 3 times around until we all got a turn at the table, there was quiet talk, and we were in 2s and 3s through the house. The relatives weren't really particular about beds, which was good, because there weren't any extras. So we squeezed in a few with us, and the rest slept on the floor, some with their arms thrown over the closest person, and some with an arm across one person and a leg across another. It was different, going to sleep with all that new breathing in the house. The relatives stayed for weeks and weeks. They helped us tend the garden, they fixed any broken things they could find. They ate up all of our strawberries and melons, and they promised we could eat up all their grapes and peaches when we came to Virginia. None of us thought about Virginia much. We're so busy hugging and eating and breathing together. And finally, after a long time, the relatives loaded up their ice chests and headed back to Virginia at 4 in the morning. We stood there in our pajamas and waved them off in the dark. We watched the relatives disappear down the road, and we crawled back into our beds that felt too big and too quiet, and we fell asleep. And the relatives drove on all day long and into the night, and while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains, and they thought about their dark purple grapes waiting for them back home in Virginia. But they thought about us too, missing them, and they missed us. When they were finally home in Virginia, they crawled into their silent, soft beds and dreamed about the next summer. All right, bye everyone.
Now, we talk a lot about gardening around West Virginia University Extension, but let's say you live in a place where you don't have a big yard. You don't have room to put a big garden. I've got good news. You can still grow a garden if you've just got some buckets or other containers. Emily Morrow is going to tell us how.
Hi, I'm Emily Morrow, and I'm Jefferson County Agriculture and Natural Resources Extension Agent. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about how to garden in containers. So there's lots of different options you can use when gardening in containers, and most of the fruits and vegetables we like to eat do well in the small space. I like to use recycled materials. I have cats myself, so I like to use cat litter containers, but the container itself needs a little bit of prep work before we can add our plants to it. All plants need to have drainage space, meaning we need to put some holes either in the bottom or the side of the buckets. If this is going to be sitting on a patio on top of concrete, it works best if you put holes on the side. I'm going to do both, so with the help of an adult, you're going to need to ask that they work a power tool with as big of a drill bit as they can find to drill those holes. So now that I've drilled holes into my container, so if I water my plant too much or if we get a lot of rain, the water will have a place to go and it won't drown out my roots. Our next step is to add soil into our buckets. And you have a couple options for this too. You can use a bag mix or you can use some garden soil. Garden soil alone is going to be really, really heavy and very hard to pick up. So to make it a little lighter and make it a better space for plants to grow in these containers, you'll need to add some materials to it. We recommend you add a little compost to a garden soil in addition to something that's going to give the plants a nice airy space for their roots to spread out. I like to use a product called perlite, which is just basically tiny little white balls that go into the soil and increase the airspace. So here I've added the perlite to a regular garden soil. This soil already has a little bit of compost in it too to give the plants all the nutrients they need. And then you'll just want to mix it up with your hands before you plant anything in it. Next, you want to add your soil to your container. In this container, I've used a bagged potting mix. And the difference is this one's going to be really easy for me to move versus the regular soil. It's going to take a lot more strength. I prefer to use the bag mix too, just because it's more readily available. After you get your containers set up with your soil, then you're going to want to think about what plants you want to transplant or seed. This is really going to come down to what it is your family likes to eat. In my house, we like to eat tomatoes, so that's what I'm going to be transplanting. I have a couple different options of transplants so you can see the difference. When you're out in the store, if you're buying your transplants or if you're choosing ones that you've started at home with your parents, you want to pick ones that are about this size. But sometimes that's not always a possibility, and you get ones from the store that are a little bit bigger in size. If these are the ones you're going to be transplanting, the best thing to do is actually to pinch off these flowers so your plant can spend all its energy putting down new roots and getting adapted to its new environment, and less energy on setting fruit, which is what the next step with the flowering stage is going to be. As you remove your plant from your container, you want to break up the root ball. This one is a little bit bigger, so it's got a lot of extra roots. We want to be careful not to break any of these. I think this is the most fun part. And loosen all the soil around the plant as much as you can. Next, you need to make a space for your plant to be transplanted in. I like to take a little bit of soil out with the cup I just removed my plant from, and then put it in the center of the pot and add that soil back in. My soil is a little dry, so I'm going to want to make sure it gets a nice drink of water before it's ready to go in a perfectly sunny location. This is a tomato plant, so it might need a little help with staking later in the season, which you can look around your yard and find sticks to put in the pot with it and help secure it so it, as the tomatoes start coming into the plant, it has enough space to go. And in this bucket, we have a regular garden soil mixed with a little bit of compost and some perlite. But like in the last example, you don't have to use transplants. Maybe you want to plant seeds directly into the ground. If you're starting plants directly from seed, you're going to want to look at your seed packet. Your seed packet is going to tell you exactly how deep to plant the plant, and since we're using containers, most seed packets will tell you what size container is going to be the best. This is a pepper plant, and it does really great with one plant in a 12-inch container, which is what we have here. This is another example of a popular container plant, would be a bean. Now, if you're thinking about planting green beans, you might want to look for a bushing variety because it's not going to need a lot of support. This seed packet doesn't tell us how many plants would be best for this size container, but I was able to find through our resources through WVU Extension that beans particularly are okay with anywhere from 4 to 6 plants per container. And if they get a little too crowded, you can always thin them out later. That's part of what gardening is a learning experience. So that's what I'm going to direct sow are going to be some beans. So I'm going to make a small hole with my finger. And I'm going to put 5 in this container because it's round, and I can put 4 around the sides, and then I have space to put 1 in the center. And because we added this perlite, which is this tiny little white stuff, our beans will have plenty of space to move their roots through the soil. And since this is a garden soil, I have some rocks and some roots left over in here. I just want to pick those out as I find them. If I look really carefully, I might see some bugs too. So a good mixture for a container garden would be about half soil, about 1/3 compost, and then the other 20% or 25% would be either this perlite material or some other organic material like pieces of twigs or leaves that would help create some space so your soil won't get super dense and compacted. We want our plants to have plenty of room to grow. So last I would water this in and put it in a bright sunny location that gets 6 to 8 hours and wait for my plants to sprout in about 7 to 10 days. So that's a little bit about how to get started growing in your own containers. Whether you're using a transplant like a tomato or whether you're using a seed, there's lots of different options that you can use in your own garden, like lettuces, peppers, squashes, beans, and tons of different options. The key is really to find some things that you can recycle and reuse. That's going to keep it a lot more fun for you, and think about the crops that you want to grow and that you like to eat. So get out and get growing.
Before we go any further, I've got a little joke I want to tell you. What's brown and sticky? A stick. On to the next segment.
Oh no, we're on! Good afternoon, welcome to episode 9 of Best Friends Bake. Today we are making Jackpot drop cookies. My name is Lucy Field, I'm 9 years old, and this is my second year of being a busy bee forager.
My name is Brynlea, and I'm also 9 years old, and this is my second year of being a busy bee forager as well.
We've been having a lot of fun going through our Cooking 101 project book with you all.
Thank you for joining us. Let's get started.
Yeah, I'm ready to eat these cookies.
The best part about Jackpot drop cookies is you can put anything you want in them.
Even beets?
Ew! I was thinking more of your favorite candy, or all your favorite candies.
We start with materials, even if a different choice of ingredients. Non-sticky spray, flour sifter, measuring cups and spoons, straight flat-edged knife, mixer, mixing bowls small and large, mixing spoons, cooking sheets, cooking racks, rubber scraper, pot holders, and timer.
The base ingredients of Jackpot cookies are 1 1/4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 egg, a half cup of butter, a half cup of sugar, half cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, 1 cup of oats, and a half cup of any choice ingredient.
Now the fun part. Brynlea and I are BFFs, but that doesn't mean we have to do everything the same.
Right, I'm adding Oreo chunks to my perfect Jackpot cookies.
I mixed peanut butter, chips, and M&Ms for my cookies.
First, let's wash our hands. You should know by episode 9, we always start with washing our hands to keep us safe and healthy.
Preheat oven to 350 degrees, lightly coat cooking sheet with non-sticky spread.
First, sift 1 1/4 cups of flour into small bowl.
Add baking soda and baking powder to flour, stir, and set aside.
Break 1 egg into large mixing bowl and add butter, sugar, brown sugar, and vanilla. And beat with mixer.
Add flour and mix well.
Add rolled oats and mix with kitchen spoon.
Now it's time to individualize my dough for Brynlea.
Sounds good, Lucy. I'm adding Oreo chunks to mine.
And I'm adding peanut butter chips and mini M&Ms to mine. Drop spoonfuls onto cooking sheet 2 inches apart using 2 teaspoon method.
Bake for 10 minutes using kitchen timer. They're done.
Use a mitt to remove from oven. Cool 2 minutes on pan, then cooling rack. Last thing is
To eat them! We had fun this episode teaching you how to make Jackpot drop cookies.
We got our recipe from 4-H Cooking 101 project book.
And our sweet baking skills from our dad. Just kidding, our mom's help and our past baking knowledge.
Join us next week when we plan to show you how to do a 5-tier wedding cake.
Do we know how to do that?
All right, I meant to say when we teach you how to make a simple chocolate cake.
Are there any questions in the comments?
Let's see. Sarah from Colorado wants to know, will it take longer to bake in the mountains?
The question has been asked, will it take longer to bake in the mountains? It might. You have lower air pressure, so you might need to add 2 or 5 minutes to your bake time. The cookies are done when the bottoms are golden.
Let's see, we have another question. Tilly from Massachusetts wants to know if you can use fruit in your Jackpot cookies.
Blueberries would be good. And it might make your batter a little more liquidy, so you might need to add a little more flour or cook longer.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
How about another joke? What did baby corn say to mama corn? Where's popcorn? I thought it was funny.
My cousin asked me if I had any laundry funds. I told her I had loads of them. Hi, my name is Sheraya Alfred. I'm a part of the 7-Point Busy Bees. This is my 4th year in 4-H, and I'm 14 years old. This year, my project is Cooking 201. If you can't tell, my visual presentation is on how to wash clothes. So what you need to wash clothes is laundry detergent, fabric softener, running water, which is in here, but I'm not running it right now because it makes a lot of noise, and dryer sheets. So you need to sort your clothes. You can sort your clothes by fabric type, so your sweaters would be in their own cycle, by color, so your colorful clothes would be in one cycle, your black clothes will be in one cycle, and so would your white. You can also do a cycle with your clothes that have stains and dirt on them. So the first thing you need to do is run your water and put your clothes in. So for the settings, water level, ours is on super because you have big loads, but it just depends on, I guess, your load. And the temperature, we do warm, cold water. And when we start it, we go to extra heavy. So while the water is running, you would add in your laundry detergent. You fill up your laundry detergent depending on how big your load is. I fill mine up to the 4. So next is fabric softener. So for newer wash machines, there's a compartment you put your fabric softener in, and it puts it in for you. But if you have an older one like mine, you have to put it in when it gets to the run cycle. So I put in my fabric softener when it gets to the run cycle. And then I would let it keep running. That runs for like 30 to 45 minutes. And then it's done, and you can take it out, put it into the dryer. So in the dryer, you put it in with a dryer sheet. I run it on very dry and hit start. That takes about 45 minutes also. This is your lint catcher thing for your dryer. It's your lint trap. You need to clean this about every time you dry your clothes. In summary, you learned how to sort your clothes, how to wash your clothes and what you need to wash your clothes, how to dry your clothes and what you need to dry your clothes, and about the lint trap. The reason I chose to do this presentation was because I know there's other people out there like my brother that need to learn how to wash clothes. My sources for this project was my mom, my own personal experiences, and Tide.com. Are there any questions?
Why do you have to clean the lint trap?
Your lint trap makes it easy. If your lint trap is full, it makes it harder for the dryer to dry at full capacity. So you have to run it a couple more times if it's full.
Why do you have to sort your clothes?
To prevent your clothes from bleeding onto your other clothes. Thank you.
Now, wasn't that fun? I've got good news. We can do it again tomorrow. join us right back here for another episode of Energy Express. Till then, have a wonderful day.